All right. Good afternoon. People are joining in right now. Just gonna wait a few seconds. We're excited. I hope you're excited too. Be ready to take notes. Lots of great information that's going to be shared today. All right, let me just see. We have a few more joining. It is 1:04 this afternoon, June 4th. It's a beautiful day out there. And let's begin. Hello and welcome to the Connecticut Apex. Get ready for the 2025 Connecticut Supplier Connection Summit and Matchmaking Event Preparatory Webinar. My name is Marisa Herrera. I am the State Director and part of a team of dedicated procurement specialists committed to helping you become government contract ready. Our team specializes in preparing businesses like yours to successfully compete in the government marketplace. Now, collaboration is at the heart of what we do here at CTAPEX and the reason we are successful. So before I continue, I want to give a huge thank you to our featured presenter, Stephen Samaya, the Director of Connecticut Supplier Connection, for making time to be with us today. You'll be hearing from Stephen shortly. Everyone is muted. We will have time for Q&A at the end of the presentation, but please feel free to send your questions at any time using the Q&A feature, and the presentation materials will be sent to all attendees. I would like to ask our attendees, by a show of hands, who here has not participated in a matchmaking event before? Okay. All right. Okay, whether this is your first time or you're a seasoned participant, today's session will equip you with strategies to make the most of your matchmaking meetings. All right, next slide. All right, so our mission here at CTAPEX is to prepare businesses large or small across the state to enter and succeed in the government marketplace, whether at the federal, state, local level, and with tribal government. Our services are listed here, and they are free of cost. We are funded by the Department of Defense and by the state of Connecticut. Our program provides tailored services and support to help businesses develop the skills and strategies they need to thrive in government procurement. Key services include one-on-one counseling on navigating complex government regulations, assistance with proposal preparation, and understanding compliance standards. We provide trainings and workshops that cover areas like cybersecurity, federal and state social economic certifications, subcontracting, foreign ownership control or influence. We do market research and assist with capability statement development to help businesses position themselves effectively in front of government buyers, and networking events and matchmaking events, including in-person panel discussions and industry-specific roundtables. We are a statewide program with offices throughout the state. Our headquarters is in Groton. I work out of our Groton office on Tuesdays if you want to stop by and visit with me. But we are happy to meet with you at our offices, at your office, or at any agreeable location, and of course, virtually. We invite you to follow us on social media, subscribe to our newsletter to stay up to date on upcoming events and contracting opportunities. Again, we are funded by the Department of Defense and by the state of Connecticut. Our host agency is Southeastern Connecticut Enterprise Region Sector. And we work exclusively in government contracting. And we are here to help you grow and expand in the government contracting sector. And now, one more thing I want to share with you. Resource partners. We work closely with organizations like SBA, DAS, Department of Veterans Affairs, business chambers across the state. But one of our favorite partnerships is the one we hold with Connecticut SBDC and Connecticut Supplier Connection. All of us together create a robust support system for our clients, ensuring they have the resources they need at every step of their government contracting journey. Now, without further delay, I'm going to turn it over to the Director of CT Supplier Connection, Stephen Semenya. Stephen, please tell us a little bit about yourself first.
Thank you so much, Marisol. My name is Stephen Semenya, as Marisol said, and I am the Director of Connecticut Supplier Connection. And I'll talk a little bit more about the origin of that in a little bit. We are funded by the state of Connecticut to help small and diverse suppliers connect with large buying organizations in the state. So obviously, there's some real uh, consistency in mission with Apex Accelerator. We work with a lot of the primes in Connecticut that do government contracting. They participate in most of our events, and we have the state of Connecticut participating as well, as you'll see. I wear a couple of different hats during the course of any given week, and in addition to being the director of Supplier Connection, I'm also associate state director for the Connecticut Small Business Development Center. We work closely with both Supplier Connection in that capacity and with Apex as well. Uh, Connecticut SBDC works a lot with clients where Apex might work a lot or in their capacity. There could be capability and how to do the contracting. SBDC would work more helping them on their capacity to acquire and deliver on contracts. But we can move forward. Let's see. Advance. My controls don't seem to be advancing. Let's see. Marisol, I don't seem to have a control to advance.
Okay, I'm going
Sorry.
to advance for you right now.
Thank you so much.
I hope that, okay.
Just going a little bit more, I won't spend a lot of time on this, but Supplier Connection was initiated by the Connecticut State Legislature 9 years ago. The program was, as I mentioned, put together to connect small and diverse suppliers with the Connecticut's largest buyers. And that's not just the prime contractors, as I mentioned, but also others in the private sector. And in addition to the business matchmakers, which is what we're here primarily to talk about today, we also do training events and work with suppliers on development as well. The technology platform that we use and is Supplier.io, which is the largest supplier diversity platform actually it was in the country. I believe it's in the world now. And if you haven't already registered on Supplier.io, it's a great way to get found. And the URL couldn't be easier. I'll get to it in another slide. But Supplier Connection's free. That's the other thing that I want to mention to you. Free to both buyers and suppliers. We don't want to put any barriers up to participation. The state of Connecticut wants everyone to participate. And so there are no costs associated with it. And that's why the state is backing this effort. And we can move on to the next slide. And as I mentioned, Supplier.io, it's being used by over 900 buying organizations, including half of the Fortune 100, the largest corporations in the world, and making some of the largest buying organizations in Connecticut also leverage Supplier.io. And again, as you'll see in a few slides, you can see the buyers who are participating in this event. We consistently try to identify and work with the largest buyers in the state. A lot of them, of course, work outside of Connecticut as well. They're not just in Connecticut, but they have significant presences, headquarters, operations in the state of Connecticut, which is why the supply chain in Connecticut is critical to them. And the Supplier Connection Development Academy, we also will put on a couple of lunch and learns a year. We'll work with the large buying organizations so that you can get into a detailed Q&A for the buyers on how to work with their organizations. And we'll do some other webinars and workshops throughout the year as well. Moving forward. Thank you. Who's eligible? It's pretty straightforward. If you have annual revenues of under 50 million and fewer than 500 people, kind of parallels the SBA definition of small for small business. SBA has some variation based on industry on NAICS code for that. Similarly, we would also can go up to larger numbers in certain industries. All companies should be for profit. We don't really work with nonprofit companies, and they must be US based companies. We have a preference for Connecticut and Connecticut, tri-state, and tri-state area companies, again, because of that Connecticut supply chain. But we do have some others who participate, especially if they do have some level of operation in Connecticut. And suppliers with a diversity certification are eligible regardless of the size of the organization. Um, and accepted commodities, really what we're talking about there is anything that is a legal commodity. And most importantly, and we'll talk about this a little bit more from a practical point of view, are you selling things that these buying organizations want to buy? Moving forward, thank you. So if you haven't already registered with Connecticut Supplier Connection, takes more than a couple of minutes just because it's a pretty detailed set of questionnaires that you'll fill out. So because they want to help you to help yourself by ensuring that you have a robust profile on Supplier Connection. And that's the website right there, ct.supplierone.co, not com, co. Just to keep in mind, if you go there, you see an image of where it says begin your registration. You enter your company. You might be surprised to find you already have a profile in there. If you haven't initiated it, it's just publicly available information that they have gathered already and started to pre-populate. But you can kind of take ownership of that. You can upload capability statements, you can upload brochures, etc. In this and in the specific platform for the matchmaker, it's really important to develop a complete profile. That is going to be how buyers know whether you even should be considered. And the more that folks are using AI, the more that what you're saying is critical because they need to be able to find keywords, indicators that you're a good match for them. So the more robust and complete your profile is, the more likely you are to be found. If
And
you need
Stephen,
any
I just
assistance
want
registering, you can
to,
always email me at that ctsupplierconnection@gmail.com. If it's technical support when you're registering, this does come up from time to time. You can't move forward on a screen because it might be that you didn't fill out a mandatory field. Contacting Supplier IO support, and there's a button on the pages to be able to do that. But
I
let's move
wanted
on
to,
and get
I
closer
just want to
to,
add that
oh, please,
CTAPEX,
sorry, Marisol.
no problem. I just want to add that CTAPEX can assist with the registration process here as well. So an
Fantastic.
additional
You're
resource.
absolutely. Thank you. So getting to the events, the two major events per year are both virtual, free, as I mentioned, and feature a business matchmaker, which is the main event, if you will. It's a day and a half of one-on-one meetings, 15-minute meetings with the buyers from these large organizations um, and suppliers such as yourselves. We always try to kick off with a keynote address from a senior industry or government official and some other useful programs, panel discussions, and speakers. And we usually get an update on the state of the state resources and programs in that as well. And this will be no different in the fifth annual Direct Supplier Summit. And I'll just take a moment to define that. Direct Supplier Summit versus the Supplier Growth Summit, which will be occurring in November. The Supplier Growth, I'll go in reverse order. The Supplier Growth Summit, which is coming up on November 19th and 20th, is open to every supplier of every type, whether you're a direct supplier, an indirect supplier, supplier of services, could be facilities, it could be janitorial, or you could be, metal fabricator making parts that go into the final products. You could be a tech company, you could be a supplemental workforce provider. All of those are welcome and expected by the buyers at the Supplier Growth Summit. The Direct Supplier Summit really focuses on suppliers of direct materials and services, focusing on manufacturing, supply chain, and related industries. When we say supply chain and related industries, we've expanded the buyers that are in. It's not all manufacturers. So for instance, you'll see in a moment, UConn is University of Connecticut is a buyer. So how would they're not manufacturing their own end product other than students graduating with degrees, but they do buy manufactured goods. So a manufacturer or transportation and logistics supplier that they might contract with would be a good fit for the Supplier Summit, as well as, of course, manufacturers of hard goods, of electronics, of plastics, wiring harnesses, printed circuit boards, etc. Um, so that's the Direct Summit. And again, that is next week, starting a week from today. and going on through Thursday next week. Okay, move on. Thank you so much. So much. If you haven't already registered, this is the URL that you can go to. The bit.ly is a short URL, so that might be a little easier to write down, especially since it's a kind of just CT Supplier Connection 2025. Not too hard to remember or jot down. Remember, it's bit.ly slash CT Supplier Connection 2025. There are pages to find out more about the event, more about the organization, and of course, importantly, to register. Highlights from the agenda for the kickoff session will be an update from Paul Lavoie, the Chief Manufacturing Officer in the state of Connecticut. He frequently does a state of the state. He's going to go beyond just kind of what's happening and also talk about trends and what companies are starting to do to, for instance, tariff-proof their business, how to react, how to handle some of the current geopolitical issues, in addition to the typical challenges of manufacturing and of working with large organizations. And then we're going to have two panel discussions. One, what it takes to do business with primes and other large buying organizations. And we will have buyers from 2 to 3 large buying organizations on that. We already have confirmation from Sikorsky and Electric Boat, and we're looking for a non-government contractor. We have a couple of buyers who are just trying to get approval for their participation. When you get into large buying organizations, you frequently get into a little bit of bureaucracy, so it takes a little time to get approvals. And the second panel is going to be on Connecticut resources available. We've mentioned 2 of them already, learning more about Apex Accelerator and more about the Small Business Development Center. And we'll also have representatives from the Connecticut Center for Advanced Technology, CCAT, and also from CONSTEP joining us. And CONSTEP will also address Connex and Forge as far as resources available to everyone. Again, just as a reminder, the matchmaker meetings are 15 minutes each. Quick tip right now, pro tip is exchange contact information as soon as you get on, because that 15 minutes might evaporate faster than you thought. You were just trying to make a great point and you realize you did not give your contact information to the buyer. They can get it. They can get it from the website, but more importantly, get the contact information from the buyer so you can follow up. We do not share buyers' contact information without their permission. We absolutely do share it with their permission, but it will just expedite things for yourself if you get that contact information right away. Okay, and our next slide. These are the buyers. So we have 12 buying organizations, but 18 buyers. Several are having more than one buyer join us. As I mentioned, it's a combination of private sector and well, they're all technically private sector, but of government contractors, I should say, and consumer products, as well as higher education, state government, and medical devices. So a wide range of different products and services that they'll be looking for. And on the next slide, we can show you, and we work collaboratively with organizations throughout the state. Obviously, the manufacturing organizations like Manufacturers CT and the Small Manufacturers Association, the organizations I've already mentioned, large regional chambers of commerce, the SBA, all to promote this event, and all of them have value depending on what sector of the industry you're in. Different organizations here who can provide additional resources to you or memberships for you to network with and continue to develop your business. So they're all on our website, also the event website. So you can just click through right on them to learn more about each of those organizations. And on the next slide, just a little bit about how to prepare. We've touched upon this already. Of course, you've got to register. You have to be in it to win it, as they say. When you go to the registration, if we have time, I'll do a quick demo on this, but make sure you select a supply. If you want meetings with a buyer, you select a supplier ticket. Now, tickets are going to remain available. We say on sale, but they're free. Available through Sunday, the 8th of June. However, Sunday, the 8th of June is also when the business matchmaker platform will close. So if you haven't registered already, register as soon as you can so that you can still request meetings while they are available. Complete your profile thoroughly. I won't repeat that because we've talked about it already. This is important. Just take note of orders@eventdex.com, support@eventdex.com, and supplierconnection@gmail.com. These days, our various email services filter everything. They're either going to get into non-focused or promotion or spam. Look in all of them. Do a search for Event Dex or Supplier Connection because you might be getting valuable instructions and links that you need to click on by email. And if you put all three of these in your safe sender list, you should get all of the correspondence that you need to participate. When you're requesting the meetings, as I mentioned briefly earlier, make sure you are selling what that specific buyer wants. What we have asked each of the buyers to do, to the extent that they can, is list what they are looking for, and perhaps more importantly, if they're open to a wide range of things, what are they not looking for? Keep in mind, again, this is the Direct Supplier Summit, so it's going to be more manufacturing, logistics, supply chain support. But even within that, get as specific as you can so that when a buyer looks at your profile, if you've requested a meeting, they know whether you're a good fit for them. And pay attention. Don't, if someone says explicitly, I'm not looking for X and you're selling X, skip them. There are several others that you can make appointments with. Log in frequently to see if your requests have been accepted. You should get emails about that as well. You can always check your dashboard about it. If you're declined, you will be able to request another meeting in its place. There's a limit of 5 meetings per supplier just to make sure that we don't have a handful of prospective suppliers snatching up all of the meeting slots. Get to know the organization that you're meeting with. I've spoken with many, many buyers, as I'm not sure a number of you have, and they all say the same thing. They say a lot more than this, but one of the things they say is that this supplier was great. They came in knowing my business, knowing what I did, knowing what I wanted, even already understanding how to, get onto our supplier diversity list or what, other specifics about them. Where others will say they came in and they asked me what we do. If they're not that prepared by the time they get to a one-on-one meeting with us, there's not a chance that we're going to even consider doing business with them. So be prepared. Know your audience. Prepare your pitch. Develop a compelling capability statement. Again, Apex Accelerator can help you with a very effective capability statement and be ready with that elevator pitch, right? Be able to convey that in 60 seconds and to be focused and on point and draw those connections between why what you're doing is relevant to what they are. Be clear and concise, as I mentioned. Lead with your unique value position. What's different about you? There are incumbents for virtually everything that they are looking for. It's not easy to displace an incumbent. You have to be compelling and talk about why you're different, why you're better. You're better, you're cheaper, you're faster. You have to have good rationale for them to even think about considering you and following up. And speaking of following up, that's so important. And again, this is feedback I've gotten consistently from buyers over the years is listen to their feedback, one, and two, follow up, be persistent but polite. Don't email every day, but it's okay if you don't hear back to email every 2 to 3 weeks asking if they've made any progress. Another tip that you probably have heard before is offer something of value, share a little insight, share something else about yourself or your industry. If you give a little bit of information, it might just catch their attention. Okay, we can go on to the next slide. Okay, now, Marisol, I'll check to see whether I can click on this. I don't think,
Sure.
since I didn't seem
I'm
to have
going to
control.
stop my share. If you have your slides on your end, I'll stop share so you can.
Okay, and I'll bring this up on my end. Thank you very much. Give me just a moment. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, so when you do go to the event website, you'll see tabs at the top, the home page, the about, agenda, partners, and there are the partners that I mentioned that you can click through. You can see the agenda. But again, and by the way, tips. This is a useful tips. These came right from buyers over the years. So definitely it goes a little deeper than we've had a discussion about already. But for registration, I'm not going to do everything in detail, but let me just show you. Registration. If you are going to be requesting meetings with with buyers, select a supplier ticket. You do not also have to request a general admission ticket to attend the kickoff session. You automatically, as a supplier, you have all access. You can request meetings with buyers, attend the kickoff session, the networking lounge, everything. So if I'm going to go right here and click on one, and then I have to click order now, it's going to take me right through to the EventDex registration page. And over here, it's confirming that I'm going to be buying a supplier ticket. Again, price is free. And then I'll enter my own name, my own contact information here. I'll pick one of my email addresses. And I'm doing a fake test company for today. And I don't even know who, oh, that's another fake phone number. No problem. But just to show you. And then over here, you can select an option for copying info. Buyer info, that's if you've been a buyer before. That will not apply to you. You can select ticket one, which seems to be the default, and it's going to transfer all of your basic info to your ticket info so that you don't have to enter it again. The only other field here is job title, and I just put in owner and prefix. I've suggested they get rid of this. They still insist on having it. So prefix. Now, capability statement, as I mentioned, if you have a capability statement, you have the ability to click right here, go into your files and enter it. I'm not going to do that at the moment, but that's really helpful, obviously, if that's there and a buyer can take a look at it. Primary business category, another pretty important pull-down menu to find the best fit, right? So it has a huge range: professional and business services, manufacturing. So if I were to say I'm a manufacturer, of course, I want to put my URL in here so the buyer can click right through to my website. I might put in www.abcfakecompany.com for the moment. And company overview. 1 to 2 sentences. This can easily be a copy and paste from your website, from your brochure, from material you already have that concisely and completely describes what your company is and what you do. Product or service keywords. You can be a little bit more descriptive here. It doesn't just have to be keywords. You can state, we are the premier manufacturer of XYZ in the United States, in the Northeast, in the state of Connecticut. Tell a little bit more, but stick to your products and services here. The reason that this initially says keywords, and I'll get to this again in a minute, is there are different types of matchmakers that EventDex hosts, and some of them are much larger on the buyer and supplier side, and people are making meetings with one another. And there's an algorithm that the system will use to match up suggested pairings. But since we only have 18 different buyers with 12 companies, you're going to look at and identify who you want to do business with and request the meeting, and then they have to accept it. So we're not really leveraging that algorithm. You'll see the information about it. It'll say your profile is 66% correct, and it might suggest some matches. You can pay attention to it, but don't worry about following some of the specifics for it, like keeping this to keywords. Use it as a description field. If you have a DBA, fill it out. And geographic region, you can say, statewide, obviously, particular county, or if you put none, that might be considering, that you don't have a specific region. You do business throughout the country. NAICS codes. Know your NAICS code. I know you might say, but I'm more than my NAICS code. I don't only do one thing, but you generally would put your primary NAICS code. It's helpful here so that a buying organization has an idea. This is another one of those fields, much more important if we're leveraging the algorithm. I'm just going to, I always wanted to be a vintner. I'll pick grape vineyard just so I can go forward, since that was a required field. Diversity type. If you have any diversity certifications, you can select them here. And if I'm not mistaken, you can select more than one so that you can include every certification that you have. You're not limited. Same thing with NAICS codes, by the way. You can pick more than one if you feel that one doesn't accurately represent your business. And then commodities. You can, again, pick multiple commodities. So we're not just saying NAICS code, we're saying, what do I really do? Well, I'm, you can read these yourself, but if I'm a manufacturer of cooling systems and I also want to put in HVAC systems, and I also want to put in heating and special, well, this is a little not analogous, but you're getting the idea. You can put in multiple different commodities again so that it's easy for a buyer to see. Once again, not as critical because we're not leveraging that algorithm, but still helpful to a buyer. And then the question is, are you already registered with Connecticut Supplier Connection? If you have, great, click yes. If no, you'll get a prompt later just reminding you to register. It's not a requirement. You'll just get a prompt. And then your registration will be complete. Oh, I skipped a field, sorry. And you'll complete registration. And again, same thing with commodities. Okay, now it's just making fun of me because I'm not being thorough. I don't believe a capability statement is required. Oh, maybe it is. I apologize. Marisol, maybe I'm going to stop sharing at this moment just because I think you get the idea of the main things to enter. When you're doing a fake company, it's that much harder because you don't have a real document to upload. But I like the fact that it's actually making a capability statement required. If you don't have a formal one, again, Apex can help you. If you don't have a formal one, but you need something immediately just for this, put something on a Word document and upload it. The system is not going to uh, judge whether it's an actual, formatted correctly capability statement. But if you have to get, once again, it'll be helpful to you. You can put something in there as a placeholder and then work with Apex on getting a very effective capability statement. And you can go into your profile and replace it if you have time to do that between now and next week.
Yeah, and I want to encourage the audience members to please reach out to CTAPEX. This is what we do, assist with capability statement. We can provide you with an editable capability statement and help you put it together by next week. You'll have our contact information. We'll send these slides to you and reach out to us and we can get you done when it comes to the capability statement.
Great. Thanks, Marisol.
Mhm.
All right.
Next slide.
Just briefly mention these resources. We've talked about all of them already, the Connecticut Supplier Connection. And you can reach me through that email, ctsupplierconnection@gmail.com. And you can register, as we mentioned, with ct.supplier1.co. You see Apex Accelerators, ctapex.org. And you can email them at info@ctapex.org. And click, well, this isn't clickable for everyone, but you could become a client. When you get to the website, you get to click on Let's Get Started to request assistance. And with the Connecticut Small Business Development Center, you can call or email or simply go to the URL. It's not in blue. It should be my fault. ctspdc.uconn.edu.
Oh boy, sorry.
Great.
All right.
And now, Marisol, you're going to talk a little bit more about how to prepare.
Yes, thank you for that.
Wonderful.
Well, I want to show, if I may, I want to emphasize, like you said, why research matters before the matchmaker. So I do want to just spend a little time here, Stephen. So
Yeah.
many small businesses walk into a matchmaker meeting unprepared, expecting the buyer to tell them what they need. But the most successful businesses show up with knowledge, insight, and a plan to demonstrate how they can help solve a buyer's problem. So research is a huge part, and this is where Apex comes in. We can help you with the researching. It shows that you're serious, strategic, and easy to work with and it helps you avoid wasting time with buyers who may not be a fit for what you offer. So I'm going to give you a brief live demo on how to research a buyer. For the purpose of this training, I will use UConn because they have such a comprehensive supplier diversity website. So we're going to, when you research a buyer, like UConn, we have to find we're going to start by visiting their supplier diversity website page to find what UConn buys, what supplier diversity goals they have, how to register as a subcontractor, or is it an invite only type of situation? You'll find contact information for their supplier diversity or procurement team and departments. And you also find past projects, current projects, future projects, and any supplier qualifications or certifications. So I recommend going to the primes or the buyer's website and look for something that reads how to do business with. I'm going to click on how to do business with UConn, and it takes me to this page here. And from here, you're going to find yourself spending a lot of time doing a lot of reading because they do provide a lot of resources. This is their centralized portal for information on engaging small, minority, women, veteran-owned small businesses. They provide plenty of resources for you, some information, lots of information, and access to so much to do business with them. So here on the right side, you're going to find for contractors, vendors, and services providers link, how to do business with UConn again, current contracts, current opportunities at UConn, and more. Within these links, you'll learn about UConn's procurement structure, types of purchases made, goods, services, construction. I also saw that they have janitorial needs, and also state and university specific certification requirements. I'm going to click on current opportunities at UConn. Let's see where this takes me. All right, here. So here we're going to click on current construction bid opportunities, and here we are on a listing for project number 300133, hockey arena building ventilation. And this is an invitation to bid or a ITB, and it's currently open. You're first going to look at the open and close dates. Always note that these so you can plan your times. So this one closes on June. Let's see, it closes on June 12th at 2 p.m. So keep that in mind. There was a pre-bid meeting on May 27th, I believe here, and it looks like it wasn't mandatory, but it's a great opportunity to attend pre-bid meetings because it's an opportunity to ask questions and show your interest and make those connections. You have the deadline to ask questions. The RFI deadline was June 3rd here, and that is when you can, your last chance to ask and submit for questions. And you can also see the eligibility requirements here. You'll find that it's an on-call general contractors in the 100,000 to 1 million range. And you're required to be pre-qualified to bid. So that's critical. If you don't meet this requirement, you'll want to note that and aim to get on perhaps their pre-qualification contractor list for future bids, and we can help you with that. To actually view or submit the bid, you'll go through their, it looks like they have this is their portal, Husky Buy online bidding portal. So you'll learn how to register on their bidding portal if you're looking to do business with them. So there's so much to learn here, and this is important. You want to know what they're working on, what kind of contractors or services they need, and whether your business aligns with those needs. So just keep that in mind. And a tip is if you don't see an opportunity like Stephen mentioned that you don't qualify for today, that's okay. This kind of research helps you build like a roadmap to get ready for future opportunities, whether you might need a certification or to register in their vendor system or attend a pre-bid meeting. And this is just a brief kind of type of research that you do to get ready for these matchmaking events. And importantly, you'll see that you find point of contact information. This is golden. This is gold, and you can always reach out to them. But before you reach out to them, do your homework. They want to make sure that you do your homework on your end. And after you learn all this stuff, you can apply it to your capability statement. We can assist you to tailor your capability statement to align with UConn's values, project types, and also their diversity goals. And it'll prepare, you'll be better prepared with better questions to ask and talking points that show you've done your homework. That's really important. And you might be able to create a mini script or an outline, because you only do have 15 minutes during the matchmaking session. So that'll help you stay focused and confident. All right. Yeah, so as a Connecticut
Right.
Apex client, you don't have to do this alone. That's what we're here for. You schedule a counseling session with us and we'll walk you through researching participating buyers like UConn and help you align your capability statement, register for this event, so that you can make a strong positive impression at these matchmakers. Thank you, Stephen. I'll turn it
No,
back.
that's fantastic advice. And I'll tell you, if you were to go into a one-on-one meeting with a buyer from Yukon and that was a good fit for you, and you mentioned that you've already looked through this, that you're planning to bid on this, and and you know that you've done that much homework, you can talk to them about how it matches up. You can, in your brief summary, your elevator pitch of your capability statement, point to how you match up with it, you'll get noticed. And again, while bid processes might have certain objective criteria, there are people behind them. And if it means, you get noticed and you get considered, doesn't mean you get the bid. That can make all the difference.
Mhm.
So that's a wonderful example of doing your homework, knowing what's available, knowing you have a fit, and then taking the opportunity for these one-on-one meetings to communicate that in addition to going through the process on the website for the official bid.
Mhm. And
You
I'm
know,
showing
yeah,
here a sample capability statements of one of my clients. And we
great,
would send you an editable template. We'd meet with you and help you put one of these together. And this is
excellent,
like your business resume. Okay. And I'll turn it back to here.
terrific. And just keep in mind when you're thinking about what you want to talk to buyers about and how you want to portray your company, it you know, it's the buyer's big part of the buyer's responsibility, part of their thought process is minimizing risk for their company. I mentioned there are incumbents for many of maybe not every contract, but for many of the contracts, there are incumbents. So they have to really be convinced that there's an advantage to taking a risk to make a change. So you have to, put yourself in their shoes and you'll be much better prepared. Another point is when if a business doesn't have a few years of experience and clients, referenceable clients, it's going to be that much harder to, break through because again, the buyers are as much about risk mitigation, risk reduction, as they are about bringing on, new potentially great suppliers. It's a balance.
Mhm.
So let's see who's got some questions for us.
Yeah, so Steve, there's a couple here. One of them is, do you work directly with suppliers, assisting them with resources? Do you connect suppliers with primes for subcontracting opportunities? Yes.
So we work being supplier connection, we'll help make referrals because supplier connection is really kind of a very, very, very tiny little group working on these couple of events. But that's why we have these wonderful partners in Apex Accelerator, Connecticut Small Business Development Center, CCAT, Constep, and so many others that we will help you navigate to the right organization to assist you. So if you emailed me, I would absolutely help figure out who the best assistance provider that's the best fit for you based on industry, on what you're trying to accomplish would be. And as far as the second part, do we connect suppliers with primes for subcontracting opportunities through these events, through these matchmaker events? That's absolutely our main objective. As I mentioned, we don't necessarily give out the supplier's contact information. This is a great opportunity for you to get it. However, if you were to send me an email and said, I'm interested in, being a subcontractor to a particular organization. Could you pass my contact information or my capability statement or my contact information along? I'd be happy to do so. But then I'll be honest, I will step out of it and it will be between you and that prime contractor, whether there's follow up. I'm not, kind of brokering or dealing. I'm giving you a platform with these matchmakers to be able to try to connect directly, and then I'll facilitate an introduction of you to a prime.
Great. The next question is, can you share the link for the matchmaker event for in
Oh,
November?
that one's not set up yet. We'll be sharing that out. And if you register on the Connecticut Supplier Connection, ct.supplierone.co, you'll be the first to get an email about each of our events. Because the first thing we do is develop and send out a constant contact email with a save the date. Then we follow it up with one that has a link to register. We share that and other flyers that have the same information out with all of our co-hosts, partners, again, like the organizations I've mentioned, including Apex Accelerator, who will also be posting it in their newsletters or sending out social media posts about it. But the way to be sure you're in the loop is register for um, ct.supplierone.co, and you'll be the first to know. But we don't have that link just yet. I will, though, in case anybody doesn't have it already. I'll drop the link, assuming we have a chat, for the registration for this current event into the chat to make it easier so that you don't have to remember that bit.ly or the full URL.
Okay. The next question is there a way to schedule more than 5 appointments?
No, it's intended to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to get meetings, because the very first time we did this, 10 years ago almost, um, a couple of very savvy suppliers, you know, grabbed a meeting with each of the buyers who only had 10, 12 meetings available. They were in-person events at that time. And before we knew it, even though we might have had 150 suppliers registered, only 20 or 30 had an opportunity to have a meeting. So since then, we start with offering 3 meetings apiece, and then we increase it, assuming that there's still meetings available, to 5 or 6 meetings apiece. And by the way, it's not that likely, if you look at all the different buyers, that there really are more than 5 out of a dozen of the organizations, at least, that you're going to match up with.
The next
Especially in the
question,
direct summit. And you might say, I'm janitorial supplies, I can deal with everybody in the other one. But again, you have to pick the ones that you think you're the best fit with.
and I'm sharing this slide, Stephen, because I believe that's the link you want them to know, right? This
Thank
is,
you. Yes. And I did just put it in the chat too, in case someone wants to click right through and have it in there.
mhm,
The link I was talking about, that's to get in touch with me.
okay,
And I could put that one in there too. Thanks for reminding me. But I put in the one for the event. I'll also put in the ctsupplier1.co, which is easy enough to remember, just in case.
okay. And
Thank
the
you.
next question is the only way to determine what services the buyers are looking for by going on their sites and identifying active RFPs, RFIs, etc., or is there a published list prior to the event?
Just like we were mentioning that suppliers should put their best profile together, talking about what they do, who they are, and what they do. We've asked the buyers to put complete profiles for themselves in there, and they may have some links in there that go to particular parts of their website, or they may simply say, we're interested in the following commodities, and have a list of them. As I mentioned before, it's important if they may say, we are not interested in certain commodities. And for the Supplier Growth Summit, which is not only for directs. I do remember from a year ago or so, several said we're not interested in staffing agencies because they had essentially a master agreement in place. They weren't open to that. And they just didn't want people wasting their limited meeting requests on them. But so the ways to do it are go through their website, go through their profile on the EventDex platform before you request a meeting with them to see what they're looking for, because a lot of them won't always be RFPs that are posted. It might be that these buyers are looking to the future and saying that we know we'd like to we'd like to be prepared for a future need, but it may not be there yet. And for a lot of the largest ones, especially the primes, it takes a while to get in there. So the other expectation I'll set, which I'm sure many of you have heard of a lot of times, is it takes time. Once again, you could get surprised and hit where it's just the right timing, or it could take a little time for And again, that polite persistence until the right opportunity is open. At the same time, you're front of mind to them. Sometimes it's really that that's what it takes.
Right. Now, the next question is, are these supplier connections hosted only once a year or has capacity lead to the need of hosting more events like this a year?
We're funded to do these 2 events per year, but there are other matchmakers happening. Apex Accelerator is a great source to know what different matchmakers are. They're going to be large and small.
Hmm.
SBA is going to have be the primary host for a large in-person matchmaker
Right.
in December. Are there any others coming up that you're aware of, Marisol, or a good place for them to look for them?
Yes, on September 11th, Paul Lavoie is having the Connecticut Manufacturing Innovation Forum at the
Mhm.
Connecticut Convention Center.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, and we do have on August 26th a panel discussion with Connecticut's leading prime manufacturers and small business experts. We have on August 21st doing business with tribal government hosted by the Mashantucket Pequot Tribal Nation. That's an exciting
Right.
one. We're looking forward to that. So the best way to stay up to date on these events is by following us on social media, subscribing
Mhm.
to our newsletter, and
Yep.
engaging with these organizations like CTSBDC, CTAPEX, get in our radar, get those
Absolutely.
newsletters, and we certainly do communicate it with our clients.
Yes, absolutely. And answering one other question that I see here, let's say the buyer shows an interest in my company offerings. What's the best method of following up? As I mentioned, exchange contact information right away in your meeting if they're showing interest. And then hopefully, it'd be wonderful if they follow up with you before you have a chance, but I would send them a thank you note for the meeting and right in there, ask for a follow-up conversation. Nobody's sales pitch is done in a 15-minute meeting, right? That's just an introduction, as you indicated, to say that there's some interest. So, polite persistence, ask for the meeting. It may not be the person who you meet with because, frequently you have one person representing the entire buying organization or the supplier diversity representative kind of screening for the rest of the organization. And they're going to go through an internal process of making introductions. So that's just a little insight into their process, but you reaching out to them right after the meeting, asking for that follow-up. If they get back to you, that's fantastic. If they don't, give it a couple of weeks, maybe
Mhm.
3 weeks, follow up again. Don't hound them every day or they will get annoyed.
I really love this question because there are some signs that the buyer has interest in your company, like they're taking notes when you're talking, like they're asking you questions, like they ask for your capability statement. Those are signs that they're interested in you.
Yep,
And so that was a really good question. The next,
absolutely.
yeah, the next question is, where are those profiles on the supplier site? I see the profiles like linked to the buyer websites.
I don't have that open right now, but if you go to your dashboard, the same screen from which you can request a meeting, then you'll be able to click right on the buyer and it'll go to their profile. It's a link to their profile. When you click on it, and it'll either be on the buyer's name or on the image, but right there, you'll be able to click through to see the buyer's profile.
Right, let's see. Any other questions? I think we answered all the questions. And like I said, we will be sending these materials out and you have the contact information to Stephen directly.
Yeah,
And next steps, register. And if you need
absolutely.
help with registering, reach out to Connecticut Apex. We can walk you through section by section. We're happy to do that. Connect with Connecticut Apex for assistance with your capability statement and researching buyers. If you're new to Connecticut Apex, register. You go to our website, click on Let's Get Started, and please know services are free of cost.
Excellent.
Stephen, any last words?
Last words, if you haven't registered already, please register, take advantage of requesting at, all 5 meetings that you're allocated. And the other thing is do plan to attend the kickoff session with the keynote speaker and the panel discussions on Wednesday, the 11th from 9 to 11:45. In addition to the fact you'll get great information, you'll get insights from buyers. They'll be telling you themselves how to best do business with them. There's not much, you can't do much better than that right before, you're ready to go request meetings. You'll also find out about even more assistance from organizations like Apex Accelerator and others. But also, I'll do a little brief run through of helping to navigate the platform, helping to navigate what's called the networking lounge, because that's an opportunity. It's something that is hard to do virtually, which you can do in person much more easily. But we try to make it available virtually. Is you can actually network with each other. Small and mid-sized businesses can network with each other on this platform, and I'll give a little bit of a demonstration on how to go about doing that. You can find each other, you can meet each other, you can set up appointments, you can go to a breakout room, or simply exchange contact information to reach one another offline. Because for a lot of you, the more likely and the more frequent sale is going to be to other small and mid-sized companies, not always to the largest in the state. And you should have a portfolio in all likelihood, depending on what you're providing, of course. You should have a portfolio that includes, larger and smaller buyers, so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Great. Well, I hope everyone is as excited about this upcoming Connecticut Supplier Connection Matchmaking event on June 11th and 12th as we are. We are committed to helping you grow and expand through your business through government contracting and buying in the private commercial sector here. And again, thank you for attending, and we will see you on June 11th and the 12th.
Wonderful. And thank you so much, Marisol.
Always a pleasure, Stephen. Thank you.
Take care, buddy.
Bye, everyone.
Great.